This is the WHTC Morning News with Gary Stevens and Peg McNichol on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
Welcome back to the WHTC Morning News for this Tuesday, May 25th. Tuesday mornings, we normally chat with one of the two men who represent the Lakeshore in the U.S. House, U.S. House Representative Fred Upton, joining us on the other side of his Zoom connection from his base of operations in St. Joe. Fred, good morning and welcome back to WHTC.
Well, good morning, and good morning to everybody listening as well.
It is good to have you with us. And before we go any further, just want to let you know, Fred will be back with us in 2 weeks. We will not be chatting with him next week because of the holiday. Let's stay close to home for you for a minute. We got an email yesterday that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will begin dredging the St. Joe Harbor early June, expediting the process to restore some critical navigation. I don't know whether or not you had a hand on this, but certainly you got to be pleased about the fact that this situation is being addressed and addressed promptly.
Well, we reacted pretty quickly. We annually meet with the Corps, actually a couple times a year. They came and met with me via Zoom in March, and they said things look like they're going to be okay for the St. Joe Benton Harbor commercial port. But shortly thereafter, literally a few days, we found that a storm dumped a whole bunch of sediment by the railroad bridge, if you know St. Joe Benton Harbor at all. And it, in essence, closed the harbor to lake freighters, the ones that carry all the sand and gravel. These are huge ships that come in. And why is this important? Well, the summer construction season is with us. We know those orange barrels for sure on all these different highways. Guess what? Most of that sand and gravel, literally within a couple 100 miles, comes into this port. And whether it's the Indiana Toll Road, whether it's I-94, 131, 31, 96, all of that is crucial to make sure that those projects get completed. And those piles, which again are in St. Joe and Benton Harbor, are pretty low right now. In fact, they suspect that they may have to shut down some of that construction early in the next couple weeks in Indiana without ships being able to come in. So the good news is that I went out with the Corps last week with the Coast Guard. We did our depth. We checked the depth of the river. In fact, we found out everything was accurate as predicted, and good for the Corps. They've come up with emergency funds for dredging, literally $500,000, and that should start by the end of next week and really be done in about a week's time to allow ships to come in by 10th, 15th or so of June, allowing those projects to continue. So, and we know with these construction projects, I mean, whether you make it a basement or something else, when you take those construction workers off the job, they don't come back. There is a long queue for them of projects across the state. So this is really good news for all of us that construction will start. So hopefully we'll keep those completion dates on time.
Fred, a few other things we want to touch base with you on in a limited amount of time we have. The No Hates Act was signed by President Biden. That should help a little bit. Describe a little bit about this No Hates Act.
Well, this was a bill that was bipartisan. I was the lead Republican on this, and we were moving it through. We attached it to the Asian Hate Act that the president signed this last week. But, you know, so often these hate crimes aren't necessarily identified or reported publicly. So there's no accounting for this. This was a no-brainer. It was we merged it with another bill. The president signed it this last week. Yet another step against discrimination for any reason. And so this was a good thing that the president did this last week.
Let's stay domestically for a little bit. It's in the Senate right now, some legislation to deal with police reforms a year after the death of George Floyd on Memorial Day in Minneapolis. Some are saying it's moving too slow. Others are saying it's not moving is moving too fast. Dealing with police reform is certainly still a topic. And of course, day like today, people are going to keep on bringing that up.
Well, it is. And part of the problem solver, I've been part of the bipartisan problem solvers working group to try and really develop good police reform. We're working with, obviously, with the police, different groups that are out there, Congressional Black Caucus. Michigan over the years has done a pretty good job. We have a registry of police that if they violate some rule, that there's going to be some accounting for it, which I think is we're clearly a leader on that. But we also know that, as we saw with George Floyd, body cams are needed. They're needed for accountability, not only to protect the officers, but really to make sure that the law is enforced the proper way. And so this provides more resources, not defunding the police, but actually providing more resources with the accountability piece. We're very close. Our group has been meeting for weeks on this, many hours. We're very close. And we expect that the Senate will take this legislation up in the next couple of weeks. Though we missed the president's deadline of getting it done by today, the anniversary of George Floyd, we expect it to be done, I think, before the end of next month. I know George Floyd's family is meeting with the president today at the White House. I was invited with other Republicans to the White House. I'll be here in Michigan as we're out of session, so I won't be there. But we're very close to getting a deal that clearly will be bipartisan, provide more accountability, and in fact, more resources to make sure that our law enforcement is even better in the future.
Staying domestically on a couple of fronts here, you are among the number of Republicans who voted for the House resolution to create a commission to investigate the events of January 6th at the Capitol. And a new Harvard Caps Harris poll shows 52% support a congressional probe, but 48% think the FBI's work into the protests is good enough. It's still a divisive matter, even though the matter is now in the Senate's hands.
Well, there's still a lot of questions to be asked. That was a terrible day. We all know that for those that experienced it, saw it, witnessed it firsthand. There are still a lot of questions that need to be answered. We need to know what the timelines were. We need to make sure that the stories are accurate and don't conflict with each other. The first proposal offered by Nancy Pelosi was a bad one. It was purely partisan. We had a commission. This was set up similar to what happened after 9/11. The commission that Speaker Pelosi initially asked for was 7 Democrats, 4 Republicans. That's not going to work. This needs to be equal. We did that, staffing equal, and we made sure that subpoena power, you've got to have bipartisan support, at least one Republican with all the Democrats, or at least one Democrat with all the Republicans. And we also wanted to make sure that this wasn't going to cloud the election year of 2022. Therefore, the work had to be done this year. Get it done this year. Be able to have that subpoena power, be able to haul people in. Why didn't the National Guard come in earlier? What was the information that was out there? What did they know about some of the hundreds of people that were arrested since then? Remember, a number of people died, millions of dollars of damage to the Capitol. Let's get to the bottom of it, and let's not have current members of Congress serve on it. We don't want it to be political. We want to get the facts. And that's what this resolution did. It passed by better than 75 votes in the House. I do suspect that the Senate is going to filibuster it. I'm not at all confident that they're going to be able to get something through, and in which case it'll be just probably end up being a House panel instead of a joint panel with the Senate. We'll see.
One final thing, and it's a foreign relations situation. I know that you keep an eye on it about things, and a lot of Americans, of course, are concerned about the situation in Gaza with the Israel and Hamas situation. But the other one, which might be even more of a concern, is dealing with the Belarus airliner that Belarusians brought down, saying it was a bomb, and actually they went and got a dissident, or a journalist arrested, taken off of that plane. There are international commissions. Some are saying if there wasn't a change in the White House, maybe the Belarusians wouldn't have been so bold in what they did. How concerned should we be about the situation in Eastern Europe in that regard?
This was a very alarming number of events that took place. Belarus, literally on a commercial airliner flying over Belarus, they forced it down, took off 2 passengers. Their health is would be very much in doubt in terms of perhaps a trial or whatever. Clearly a violation of international rules, and we need to apply a lot of pressure here to get the two individuals released by that government. And let's hope that something happens quickly to make sure that their safety is protected.
He is Congressman Fred Upton. He joins us on Tuesday mornings to talk about some of the things going on in Washington. Fred, as always, we appreciate your time. Wish you and the family well for Memorial Day weekend, and we look forward to chatting with you in a couple of weeks.
Look forward to it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Fred Upton, on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.